We begin with the race for the White House. Early voting is now underway in more than 40 states across the United States, and over 20 million people have already cast their ballots. Democrats clearly have an edge in early voting. However, unlike 2020, Republicans are also voting in heavy numbers before Election Day.
I'm voting for Donald J. Trump, and the reason being I love his policies. I love his policies on lowering taxes, taking care of our military, that's first of all, taking care of the border. He's going to straighten that border out just like he did back in '16.
I didn't vote for him to be the pastor of my church. I voted for him to be the president of this country. This country needs to be run like a business, and he's a businessman.
According to data from the University of Florida, about 43% of the early votes have been cast by Democrats, while around 34% have been cast by Republicans. Voter turnout has already broken records in swing states such as North Carolina and Georgia. Meanwhile, Republicans voting in person have outnumbered Democrats in Nevada, which is the opposite of what happened in 2020. This reversal comes after former President Donald Trump's change of heart as he urged his supporters to cast their ballots early this time.
We want a landslide that's too big, too big. We can't let anything happen. Early voting is underway. Get everyone out. Get everyone you know. Just get them all out to vote. Go tomorrow. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. These will be, despite the fact that we've been set back so far by incompetent, vicious, foolish leadership, we will have the 4 greatest years in the history of our country.
Now, political parties usually want voters to turn up early so that they can be efficient and get more marginal voters at the last minute. The Republican Party excelled at convincing its supporters to vote early until 2020, when Donald Trump asked voters to wait until Election Day. After losing the White House, Donald Trump falsely claimed that Democrats cast millions of early votes and suppressed Republican votes. Meanwhile, Democrats have been embracing early voting for years, as banking these ballots helps them focus on swaying smaller groups. Now, experts have warned against drawing too many conclusions from the early vote. In fact, voting before Election Day shows how many voters registered with a party are voting rather than whom they're actually voting for. Enthusiasm is running high as polls now go out the window, as voters are finally making their voices heard all across the country. The early voting is not only giving us an early indication of turnout for both parties, but also a window into each candidate's ground operations, which could be the ultimate difference in a race that by all accounts is expected to go down to the wire.
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election. Explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained. Every Monday and Thursday only on Firstpost.